Let's dive into the dynamic of Whitney from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Whitney has talked openly about some of the issues and problems that she's had from her past. And so some of the wounds that we're going to talk about today are violation, inadequacy, distrust, and judgment. So I want to dive into this series all about the real influence of healing. This is where I take people who have put out their issues, their problems, and their traumas out for the world, and I give them advice to help them heal precisely where they're at. This is a juicy one, and I can't wait to dive in. This video is created for entertainment and informational purposes only. It's important to note that I am not a medical professional, therapist, nor am I licensed to give specific advice. My mission is to inspire you on your journey, and it's about you making the decisions that's right for you where you are in your life. I'm your empathetic guide, ready to explore healing where you are. As a certified intuitive life coach specializing in energetics, I can pinpoint your healing needs. I have interviewed world-renowned healing experts on my podcast, my YouTube, to guide you on your path to transformation. My approach is always rooted in compassion and inspiration with no judgment or ill intent. I strive to motivate and inspire those who seek healing along their path. My mission is to empower you to unlock your unique energetic blueprint. Heal and transition from the relentless hustle to harmonious living. Life is all about energy, and I'm here to guide you on a transformative healing journey, helping you understand your true self and unleash your gifts. Let's co-create in a life of harmony with your spiritual essence, turning everyday chaos into cosmic healing. There is the beauty of choosing healing without imposing expectations on others, so it's your journey, your pace. Empower yourself and inspire by example. Whitney is actually already on the path of healing. She has shared so much about her childhood and upbringing, about sexual trauma, religious trauma, and all these things, and she's showing us the process of what she's doing in that. And so this is a little bit different because most of the time when I want to dive into this is someone who wants to heal, but they don't know where to get started. And Whitney has already gone on the path of healing. I just want to give insight on what I see through the dynamics of her relationships. And then ultimately, I love to plan a retreat to help further the healing. Some wounding that comes through on the show is that she gets really defensive. And when she decides that it's time for someone to take accountability or they need to heal, she doesn't understand that this is a personal, subjective process. It's up to the other person for them to take the steps in healing. And it's not up to her to place judgment on them for not doing the same. She's also shown some aspects of her sex life on the show with her husband, and that tends to be also a wound from sexual trauma. The wounding with that is she's trying to take control of something where once she did not have control of. But you can see that dynamic between her and her husband. It's hitting some friction because they're at a point where life is getting ahead of them. Her husband had lost his job for them displaying some of their sexual chemistry on the show. And now he's returned to work. And this dynamic where he was very involved and helpful in their home life isn't quite the same. And she has these businesses that she's also trying to either get off the ground or keep going. It's hitting this wounding of maybe she's feeling that his work is more of a priority than her work.
When Justin lost his job last year, he had a 1-year non-compete, which means he could not work for 1 year. How do you feel?
I don't know how I feel, to be honest with you.
So it's been 1 year, and Justin just accepted a new job. We're gonna really need to figure out a new daily routine, and chores are probably gonna change, responsibilities, because
yeah, you guys need to step up.
Mom and Dad are working full-time now.
Like, I am gonna miss taking you guys to school.
You're still gonna be taken to school?
Yeah, taking to school, but just probably not picking up.
You pick me up? Let's back up, because this is like...
I guess we need to talk about that, right?
You all need to go get your homework done. Okay? My thing is that with running my two businesses and being a mom, and now Justin's not going to be around. How are we going to manage it? You go back to work and now everything's on my head again? Like
No,
laundry,
no.
cleaning, kids.
I don't
Like, are you expecting me to just be able to like take it all on? Or because like that's kind of the vibe. You're going back to the male dominant role again.
I'm a little bit lost though. You knew I was going back to work. Like, I don't know where the breakdown is, why this is a surprise.
I just don't want us to go backwards. Bobby is turning 13 and just is like the most critical age that our little girl needs us. I was once a 13-year-old girl without present parents, and that is my number one priority. It's not just about dropping them off at soccer or school. It's like really knowing what's going on in their life, because I lacked that as a child. I was having some horrible things done to me and no one knew. It just went under the radar because no one took the time to understand what was really going on in my life. So it's so important to figure out how Justin and I are going to be present, because my biggest fear is that I'd miss something with one of my kids. Like, that I'd miss something huge. Our kids need us. And I also know that you need your career and I need mine. So
how does that work?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have the answers either.
And so it comes to this triggering that when someone is the primary breadwinner, they take control over us and what we're doing. It's hard when we're trying to process these things and see how it can affect the dynamic, because they were working really well together previously, and now they're just trying to figure out how this relationship dynamic can work. And knowing that their sexual relationship is also not where it was. She's just feeling like the endeavors in her life are not taking precedent over her husband's. So that can cause some sort of wound of the masculine energy taking over the feminine. And that can make us feel unsafe in that process. And when we feel unsafe, we're not as open to showing up sexually. First thing between her and her husband is if he can create more of a safe space for her in that, because this transition is causing some upheaval in her wounds from her past. I can't speak for her personally, but I'm sure some of that sexual trauma was this masculine energy overtaking her young feminine energy. You know, that's hard. And the fact that it is now kind of coming to a head in their marriage. Hi, friends. I'm not sure I'm meant to make this episode because the first time I recorded this, most of it was deleted, hence the atmosphere change. And then the second time I tried to record it, it was through my headphones and not my speaker. And that would just leave a terrible audio experience. So third time's the charm. So another important aspect of that dynamic in the video of Whitney and her husband is her fear of not being there for her daughter, Bobby. And that stems from her not being truly cared for as a child. And I found with the conversations I've had with my clients and countless healing practitioners is a lot of times when we have some sort of trauma or situation or problem in our childhood, we then become hyper aware when we become parents. And so the fact that she is just trying to be extra careful and be there more for her daughter, and then also wants her husband to do the same, is this fear that the same thing will also happen to her daughter. And so coming from a place of healing, she is doing exactly that. She's stopping this generational trauma that has happened through her lineage, and she's stopping it here and being more present with her kids. I think her husband isn't understanding that fear or that wounds that's coming through as Whitney being a mom. But this is what healing looks like, especially when we just try to heal the wounds of ourselves and so that it doesn't filter on to our children. So I just want to applaud her because she's showing it right there. That is showing a big aspect of her healing. I do eventually want to do an episode on Heather, and there's going to be that dynamic of Heather and Whitney in there, but I feel like my due diligence of reading Heather's book needs to come first, so stay tuned for that aspect. I also want to touch briefly on Mary Cosby. I will not do an episode on Mary. I'm afraid of her wrath. Energetically, she scares me, and I don't want to ever have anything that's going to have her, I don't know, come after me, I guess.
Did you did help me see that? I don't have a problem with seeing that. I don't have a. Do you feel anything with me, Jen?
No. You're talking to me like I'm a child.
I'm talking to you for understanding. Whether you take it as a child, that's your business. I'm talking to you for understanding, sweetheart.
I'm a very smart woman.
I talk to my son as an adult, and I'm aiming for a direction, which is understanding.
Mary.
I don't do just.
And what you missed was Jen actually offered you a very beautiful moment.
I don't need you to tell me that.
And I just thought it was a beautiful moment that I felt we should all hear. Mary, take a step back.
See, here she goes, trying to tell me what to do.
First of all, I am not a child. I have an opinion on this table.
Oh,
Let's
Lord,
make that clear.
Okay, yes. You're too insecure. Grow up. Grow the heck up.
You call me little girl.
You are a little girl. That should be a compliment.
That is not a compliment. That is
okay, but wait, hold on. Right now, that's who. Then you don't know Mary, and that's why you didn't call me back for this event.
Mary, I was driving carpool with my children.
Don't
irresponsible.
bring your voice down. Bring your voice down. You don't yell at me, okay? Wrong girl.
If I answer a FaceTime in a car, that's irresponsible with other people's children in the backseat.
Listen, it's okay. Don't think you're above nobody else. Don't yell at me.
I'm not above anything.
You can go.
You're not hearing me, Mayor.
Little girl.
We can see that her being married to her step-grandfather, there's something there. There's some sort of trauma there. And the reason she will not give Whitney the light of day, or she belittles her and talks to her like she's a child, is because Whitney is a mirror to her about her inner child wounds, and she doesn't want to acknowledge it. She doesn't want to open that box, because you can see with Whitney, it's a hard thing to go through. And I don't think Mary Cosby has the capacity or the self-awareness to be able to go through that. And so lightly on that is Whitney triggers Mary, and Mary can't handle that. She doesn't know how to handle it.
What do you mean I have to own? I have to own you talking about me?
You sent me mean text messages and it hurt my feelings. You think you're better than me? I can tell you, you're not. I'm better than you. I also know I look younger than you. I don't need all the fake injections in my face to make my face look like whatever. I've never had plastic surgery, never. I don't need it like you do.
Grow up, little girl, okay? I'm done.
Mary,
have a good night.
no.
I'm not doing this with you. You're not wasting you've wasted enough of my time.
Mary, please don't do this.
Watch me leave.
Mary, did you hear? I brought you here to take accountability and talk.
Well, you're not doing it. So
You're
you know what?
upset because
Goodbye.
I'm asking you to do the
You're not
same
doing
for
it.
the mean text message.
And I'm not sitting here with you
So you
for
can
you
be
to
mean.
tell me what I need to work on.
You can be mean, but I
you sit
can't.
there and called my husband and my predators.
I know.
You
Mary,
have several.
That was awful.
I can't believe Whitney is comparing my text messages to calling me a predator and my husband. How is that even in comparison? You can't just say anything about people that's not true and think that it's okay. Like, someone's gonna backhand you. Like, seriously, it might be me.
Whitney, we're done, okay? Goodbye. Have a good
So
night.
my
I'm going
fault?
to take my food off.
You won't even have a conversation, Mary.
No, I'm not wasting my time with you. That's what you don't get. Wake up, bobblehead. Excuse me.
That's where the idea of her not being acknowledged. And when I do these type of episodes, it's because I have hope that these people will heal those wounds. And I'm not sure Mary Cosby will ever ultimately acknowledge the trauma she's been through or even take the steps, because it would leave probably a family tree and lineage come crumbling down. And again, I'll do another episode on Meredith separately, but I think a lot of why Whitney gets triggered because Meredith ultimately has excuses and is in this like victim mentality. While I understand accountability is really important to Whitney, for someone to not be in that victim mentality or that, avoidance. It's up to her to heal that. And so until a Meredith decides to take that step, Whitney should take a step back from trying to get Meredith accountable, because only Meredith can do that. The best way to get people to go on the healing journey is to show how you're healing. Even though Whitney's taking these steps, she's getting triggered by other people who are not taking those steps. It's important to know that there's a beauty of choosing healing without imposing expectations on others. It's your journey, it's your pace. Empower yourself and inspire by example. So how can she continue on with this healing journey? So we already know that she was doing EMDR therapy, which is really hitting the trauma that she was dealing with as a child. I would suggest her going into mindset work, because she just has this idea of accountability and all these things that she has found on her healing journey. No one else is choosing to do that. And so the mindset work would be, she has this powerful decision to make these steps, and that she should not make anybody else feel bad about not taking those same steps. So a recommendation for a book would be How to Do the Work by Dr. Nicole LaPera. It just helps talk about, when we have traumas and issues throughout our life, how we can actually do the work, what can really help us on our path. Like I've said before, this is a personal, subjective process, and my recommendations are coming from my perception. Another book that I would recommend is the Inner Work book. And the reason why is because there's a few different types of wounds that come up for Whitney. And the Inner Work book would help her feel seen and heard of why these things are coming up. And then it just helps give a breakdown of what it means. And it helps you feel resonant with the wound, and then also how you can take action moving forward. I also think a hypnosis specific to her traumas around her mindset, with this idea of imposing her healing onto other people. And I think if she can just help with her mindset, that the healing's for herself, and that showing her healing hopefully inspires other people. I would love to look into Whitney's human design, because when we can understand our energy centers, we can understand where we're consistent and where we're inconsistent, where we're influenced, where we can influence other people. Sometimes when it comes into triggering and we can understand energetically where it's coming from, it can help us deal with their triggers versus, not reacting and more responding. Check out my podcast episode about optimizing your energetic efficiency, and it just helps you navigate your human design energy centers. That's at karadempsey.com/84. My goal is to help Whitney from feeling left out, not feeling seen or heard, to having healthy pride, moving through challenging circumstances with composure, helping her move beyond her fears, and trusting that the future is in her favor. Now let's dive into the 3-day retreat. One of the things that I say is, if I know someone's human design, psychovitality, and astrology, I have more of a pinpoint specified retreat for someone. So we're going to keep this generalized. But I feel like day number 1 should be more about play. So that means I think a retreat center that has access to adventure and activities, especially ones that maybe she loved as a child or a teen, or even new things that she doesn't do regularly. Because she's in Salt Lake City, we know she snowboards, we know she does those type of adventures when it comes to this type of adventure. So something to help her get her energy flowing is, I think, dance embodiment. Somewhere where she feels safe and that she can really tap into her body, where she can make noises and dance like no one is watching would be really important, because I think a lot of the times it's like we're putting on a show, and the whole purpose of dance embodiment is to move intuitively, make noises intuitively. It's a really powerful experience, but you need to be in a safe, secure place to do that. I would love for her to have a session with like me, a life coach, or someone that can help her get clear on the ages where she needs the most healing. I want to say she mentioned ages 9 to 17. So we can't heal the inner child of all those ages on one retreat. But if we can pinpoint and be able to plan a day to heal the age most affected. I think from there, to help kind of move that energy, because that's going to be really heavy, is that adventure I was speaking about before. Paddleboarding, zip lining, something fun. Maybe she's done it before, maybe she hasn't, but something maybe in the warmer weather versus like the cold snowboarding adventure she's used to. The rest of the day is just going to be a safe space for reflection, see what comes through about planning a day for her inner child, and just feeling loved and supported and comforted for the rest of the day. Day number 2 is going to be about building the toolkits to help her once she leaves the retreat. These retreats are always beautiful and great, but it's like, how can we integrate this into our life? So it's getting clear on the tools that are going to help her through these moments of healing. She's shown that she meditates, but I think something like EFT would be really powerful for her. And that would help with that subconscious of her feeling like she needs to get other people to recognize their downfalls and heal and just take ownership on what she wants. So it would be talking about what it is, and then being able to create an EFT script so that she can do it at home, whether she records it, she writes it down, whatever works best for her. I think from there, she should work with a licensed hypnotherapist to create a hypnosis on cultivating trust with herself and those around her. Something that they can be able to go home and use regularly every day or a few times a week or anytime she's feeling triggered by her surroundings. And then the rest of the day is all about pampering, really just making her feel supported and luxurious, whatever that looks like for her, a massage, it could be more sound healing, whatever feels good for her. Day number 3 is all about the integration. What are the tools that she needs in support moving forward? Is it having a life coach? Is it having a therapist? Is it finding a different type of therapy than EMDR? Is that too intense for her? What's something that's going to make her feel safe and supported for her to really step into her power? Another thing that I think would be very helpful is to create a work and home plan to help her not feel overwhelmed with her husband going back to work. That's a dynamic that is something that is, again, personal and subjective. So what would make her feel more supportive? Is it like a meal delivery service? There's certain things you can do that you're not feeling like the mental load and the physical load is all on her. What are the things that her husband can step up to do maybe on the weekends so that she can focus? It's about finding that balance, seeing what works. It's like, this is their current situation. How can they adapt versus being frustrated by their current situation? Being frustrated isn't going to get anywhere. What are the things that can shift into their life? And lastly, it's just getting clear on the conversations with the people affected, i.e. her husband, and talking out with what she needs, maybe solutions to be able to see both sides. But it's about having an open conversation of what does she need to be seen, felt, heard, and what does he need to not feel like he's being pulled in different directions because he's starting a new job. I just got this intuition hit to pull some cards for Whitney to end this out while I was editing. What messages do we have for Whitney as we close out this episode? So it's trusting and aligning with her higher truth. So letting her feel seen and heard by herself, her needs, and what she needs in life to feel safe. Find a way that she can release the tension so that it isn't affecting the relationships around her. Because I think sometimes she puts this projection of she's healing, she's taking accountability, how can other people do it? Last one is just imagine. How can she embrace her imagination, her wisdom within? And I think I'm just getting more of that inner child healing with it. So I hope this helps to end that out. So tell me in the comments a dynamic you want me to do next. As we wrap up this episode, remember that hitting the like button, leaving a comment, or sharing this content, you're not just supporting my channel, you are actively contributing to the flow of the 7 universal laws. Together, we are cultivating a vibrant, flowing stream of wisdom and positivity. So keep riding that cosmic current, keep sharing the love until our next rendezvous. Stay true to your unique flow. See you in the next adventure, my fellow flow seeker. We'll chat soon.